tapping with Knight of the Reliquary if you're having some anti-synergies as a result.
Yeah.
And it only comes up basically when you untap, so at that point, the game is pretty easy to win.
Looks like Castro did win game number 1 over Caponera. Shardless Bug down a game versus Dark Maverick. We will take a look at the Shardless Bug sideboard here very quickly. You have that in front of you.
2 Disfigures, a Knight of Soul's Betrayal.
Okay.
Maelstrom Pulse, Null Rod, Thoughtseize, 2 Gravedigger's Cage, 2 Duress, an Ocean Thief, a Leyline of the Void, 3 Flusterstorms. I would probably just bring in the Disfigures, the Maelstrom Pulse, and the Knight of Soul's Betrayal.
Knight of Soul's Betrayal is pretty good against this deck. There's Thalia, there's Mother of Runes. Turns off the ability for Deathrite Shaman to attack, but that's not really that big of a deal. Let's see, Witness, Noble Hierarch, Scrib Ranger, Sylvan Safekeeper. Imagine a Dryad Arbor. So yeah, it's got some skills here. Haven't seen that card in a long time.
It wouldn't surprise me if this is more for matchups like Death and Taxes or Elves, where it's really hard for them to function with this card in play.
Yeah, it is expensive though.
Yes.
4 mana is a lot. Now, if you get it in play, they are basically dead. But 4 mana is certainly a lot. We took a Castro sideboard. Both players going to mulligan here. We've got ourselves 2 Abrupt Decay, Gaddock Teague, a Life from the Loam, 3 Thoughtseize, Engineered Plague, 2 Ethersworn Canonist, 2 Rest in Peace, an Aven Mind Center, Enlightened Tutor, and an Oblivion Ring. You know, this sort of fair matchup seems to really favor Castro. This seems like the kind of deck that Maverick really does kind of clean up on.
Yeah, I mean, you have quality creatures. You have a lot of, implied card advantage. These are the kind of decks you want to be playing against. Definitely not combo decks.
Yeah, that's the thing you want to stay pretty far away from. Now, this particular version of Maverick does have the Dark Depths Thespian Sage combo, so able to kill people rather quickly. There's a Dryad Arbor to Zenith for, 3 copies of Wasteland, 2 Horizon Canopy, a Maze of Ith, a Gaia's Cradle, and a Karakas. So some pretty sweet value lands as well.
Yeah. Kind of a throwback to days of old. I mean, we've seen a lot of these decks gravitate away from the utility lands, and they just play 4 Wastelands and Thespian Sage Dark Depths. That's sort of what Knight is there to do. But the Cradle, the Maze of Ith, some throwbacks.
I'll tell you, I actually miss when Maverick is a good deck. I think it's a fun deck to play against, play with, and as you mentioned, it's if that's one of the better decks, it's a rather healthy format.
Yeah, that's a good test, right?
If my green-white Honest Creature deck is good, then that's not so bad. So we're underway here in game number 2.
Decks should be reversed.
Yeah, the top, the flip the names, and the archives. So it looks like here, Caponera gonna search out a land. Let's search out a Bayou here with the Verdant Catacombs.
Both players again on 6 cards here.
Now take a draw here. Sylvan Library, not a bad turn 2. There's a Wasteland. We'll see if it's going to be Tarmogoyf for the Library. It's going to be the Library. Library, really, really good card in the fair matchups.
You can easily imagine, you cast the Tarmogoyf and it just eats a Swords to Plowshare.
Yeah.
The Sylvan Library has the potential to do a lot more.
Library has always been one of the more interesting cards to me in Legacy because the first copy is so good and the second copy is so bad.
And there's some matchups where it just isn't very good. When you're under the gun, combo matchups, certain matchups like Burn. And so 1 copy in a lot of lists makes sense.
Well, apparently everything is bad against Burn.
So far this weekend, yes. Merit Lynch was pretty good against Burn.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I suppose that's true. Oh, what a surprise this is. Asking for Oracle text on Sylvan Library.
Yeah. Legends has a lot of doozies when it comes to poorly templated cards. Sylvan Library not well templated and has baffling functionality to boot. So
I do like the 0 on Sylvan Library, : implying that you can use it a bunch.
Yeah.
But that's not true. Use this ability only during your draw phase and only once each turn. Ah, old cards.
Yeah.
My
and this is the fixed template. There we go.
There it is. I actually like that artwork a lot too. What do you think? Maybe a tattoo of that?
It just looks like there would be just some moss on your back. I think the subtleties of the piece may be lost in tattoo form.
All right, man, I'll try something else.
Yeah.
Try something else. I wonder what the worst Magic tattoo would be. Now that's a game worth playing.
I mean, you can probably go into the unglued, unhinged sets and find some real doozies, I would guess. Our producer has just suggested Word of Command, which is also a fine choice.
You can bring it up. Time to go get the old planes out of the deck. And
Yeah, not a great tattoo.
that would be really something. Here's Nuazawa's Chite. Caponera. Gonna just draw his card, so just neglecting to use the Sylvan Library.
Pretty rough on the turn. You're missing a land drop.
Yeah, it may have used that. There's a 1/2 Tarmogoyf. So Castro gonna draw a card. It is a wasteland. This could get awkward.
I mean, he may just want to snap off the Night of the Reliquary.
I mean, Knight is certainly appealing. It is the best card in the deck, after all.
The tough thing about wastelanding here is if Andrew does library to a land next turn and you do nothing else with your turn, it's not great for Christian.
Yeah. Time to sacrifice a Verdant Catacombs. We'll see what land is searched for here. Looks like it's going to be a Savannah in the face of that wasteland. We'll see. As far as basics are concerned, 2 plains, 2 forests. Going to go get another forest. Does not want to open himself up to wasteland.
Although he's costing himself, some percentage points on the way back here. If he played the wasteland this turn and played Knight, he could potentially set himself for 2 wastelands next turn and leave Andrew with very little.
Got to play the Knight. Knight's just too good. Caponera does have a copy of Toxic Deluge in hand.
That's going to kill his Goyf at this point.
Yeah. That card's just pretty scary. So Knight. It's going to be a 4/4 here.
You're just putting a die on there to confirm the size.
I agree, but whatever.
So a lot of pressure on Andrew to find lands at this point. And if he can't, or even if you see a wasteland there, something that doesn't produce colored mana, I think Andrew may want to consider just paying a bunch of luck to burn through here.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we don't see enough, I think, with Sylvan Library is just saying, all right, I'll pay 8 life, go down to 11, so I can actually see some better cards now.
I mean, look at it right now. He has Bayou, Wasteland, Wasteland. If he doesn't find a land next turn, he can probably cast very little in his hand.
Tarmogoyf going to come in for 1, and now I think we're going to see Toxic Deluge. And the sweet spot here will be for 4, and that'll take care of Knight, presumably. So there that goes. So Castro's going to untap here on a pretty even board with the ability to pull ahead. See sort of Fire and Ice in the hand. There's Wasteland to take care of the colored source of mana. So that's pretty brutal. And there's a backup Knight of the Reliquary. So that's even more brutal.
Tough turn for Andrew.
Yeah. Andrew's going to library now. Take a look at a couple of cards. And he's going to leave those there. There is a Verdant Catacombs.
Fortunate for Andrew that he found it this turn because if he didn't, things would have gotten really ugly. He couldn't even have paid 8 at that point to draw 3 to gas through because the Knight represents so much damage.
And no wasteland targets to fire off here. Not to say that Caponera would even want to do that. And then Verdant Catacombs doesn't allow him to cast anything. There's a Liliana and a Tombstalker in hand along with a Force of Will. So a really awkward draw here for Caponera this game.
Is a hand with nothing currently.
There's a Noble Hierarch. And now it's time to equip Nuazawa's Chite. On that 5/5 Knight, it's going to be a 6/6 attacker. Caponera's going to go down to 9. And then we're going to trigger ourselves Nuazawa's Chite.
Just giving him the lumps. And this also means that he has protection from Liliana at this point as well.
Good turn all around. Verdant Catacombs is going to put Caponera down to 8. Looking to clear that Sylvan Library. Find something that actually does something. going to search up the old Underground Sea. Caponera's going to have to find some real help with this library, not only this turn, but for consecutive turns.
Yeah, and again, he can't really pay life at this point. He gets one additional shot at it, so his resources are really strained. His hand provides no assistance, so he's going to have to draw extremely well from here.
Time to look with the library.
And he's facing lethal next turn.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah, it's...
this knight's not messing around.
Yeah.
Knight plus Jite is very difficult for anyone to beat. And unless Caponera was able to find something like, you know, a green source of mana and abrupt decay, we could just be moving on to another game here in just a moment.
And even green source abrupt decay lands him in a spot where, all right, now the Hierarch picks up the Jite.
Jesse, I want to make sure that Castro did win the one, so they put the names. I just want to make sure the numbers right. So it looks like Caponera did pay 4 life. And it looks like he wants to wasteland, but obviously there's nothing to wasteland out there. That's to pass the turn back. You have to imagine, yeah, and you see the abrupt decay. That's exactly what's happening here. Now,
But if a removal spell is on Andrew's radar, he can simply move the Jite onto the Noble Hierarch and attack with both.
you beat me to it. Can't close it out this turn if he does see that line of play. There's really not too much else to play around either. So there's some tapping of mana. And he's going to move it over here. That plays right through an abrupt decay. And, you know, the thing is, you can check off a lot of removal spells here in this situation. Okay, what cards do I need to play around? You know, a card like Dismember is off.
Yep.
Hard to say if that would be in a Charlotte's Bug deck anyway, but don't have the life to pay for it. Here's abrupt decay.
It would really have to involve Submerge for this turn to get bad.
Yeah.
That's really the only card I can think of.
So there goes Knight, and we'll see if the double pump here will take place. Yep, pump, 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 pump. Kind of cautious with it. Yeah, and that's going to do it. So Christian Castro is going to win this match over Andrew Caponera. 2-0. Dark Maverick going to take down Charlotte's Bug, and that deck's going to move on to 5-1 as well. And it's a battle of the fair decks here in Las Vegas.